The following is a transcript between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am, originally produced on March 6, 2021, under the constellation of Pisces in the mental week, examining through the solar plexus. Me. I'm too sleepy today. I am. Better. Because you enter the fifth dimension, you will need sleep. Well, from here on, things get a bit stranger. Me. How strange. I am. Strange enough to know that logic won't be able to help you. We'll try, though. The 5D is the threshold to the strange, the incomprehensible. It's the one that opens the doors to the more subtle, psychedelic dimensions. Remember that? Me, oh yes, I remember. When I was little, I could feel the fifth dimension. It connected me to part of who I am today. It opened me to the world of infinite possibilities. But over time, it faded away. My guides advised me to humanize myself. Otherwise, I would never be able to communicate or fulfill my role as a human. So I was doing that. I was humanizing myself. But that took me away from the 5D, attracting me more and more to the perception of the 3D. I discovered that I liked it, and I didn't see living in 3D as a misfortune, but as something great, an adventure. But in the spiritual world, linked to the 5D ideology, it seemed to be looked down upon that I was so much in 3D. I've heard people telling me, "You've disconnected. You're not doing well. Matias lost the connection. He's not doing what he used to be." I saw they're too easy at a judgment, without understanding that it is part of my process to do what I do today, like someone who judges the one who climbs the mountain for climbing, but not for being at the top. And yet, when I had to connect again, it was difficult. I think it was because I had begun to see connection almost as classism, seeing who is more connected than who listens to the 5D masters and avatars and who doesn't, as if someone in the third and the ability to judge what the fifth's connection is like. So, at the time of reconnecting, I refused. I felt evaluated, judged, and I interpreted that as if being connected or not connected was almost like belonging to a club. I prefer not to do it and to continue enjoying the matter. But this human tantrum I had was silenced by one of my guides who told me, "The connection is now." But I had become so humanized that a simple meditation would have not achieved the expected effect. I am so. Me. Ayahuasca. I always refused. I didn't want to do it. I was afraid of losing control over myself, over who I am. I was afraid that all of my portals would open up and the session would end in an exorcism, which had already happened once. I flatly refused to ingest anything foreign into me that would alter my state of perception. But one day, while I was in Mendoza, Argentina, I lost my bearings. Normally, I am always connected to matter, knowing where the cardinal points are, like a bird. But the time I got lost, I didn't know where I was, and I stayed with some friend's house waiting. But the access would not come so easy again. And then I understood. My geographical axis is Chile, so I decided to travel there and prepare myself. The night I arrived, everything was stolen, and then I understood that I had to start from zero. So I did ayahuasca. I am, and how was it? Me. Like a dream, but much more real. It was like coming home. I didn't feel any of the things they say, discomfort, vomiting, nothing. I talked to the plant before I ingested it, and I told it, I am here to come back to me from the roots of the earth. I trust, and I will not put any limits. I will allow you to enter every last one of my cells. Show me everything." Then the plant told me, "There are two ways to do this path, by purging and healing, or by expanding and reconnecting. The first involved stirring my body, and the second involved opening it. I opted for the second. Then I immediately stopped feeling the physical body from the navel to the feet and began to expand. I went through the history of every kingdom, mineral, plant, and animal. I saw all of the options, and I realized that I was living the fourth dimension. And at one point I said, 'This is not me,' and everything vanished. And grandmother said, 'Maybe this is you.' And then she showed me the void, and a little red light that kind of sparked on and off. I started running after it until I looking for it, until I managed to take it in between my fingertips. And when I brought it close to my eyes, I saw its beauty. It was a red ruby, radiant, in the shape of an octahedron. It replicated itself by the millions around me, and I could see how each one held a reality. If I spun this precious gem, all of the others spun, showing me a galaxy, and if I twisted it in another direction, I saw a DNA. I am the macrocosm and the microcosm. Me. In the middle of the void, I was everything, and I was nothing. But mostly I realized something. I am what? Me. That I was neither one nor the other. I was neither a galaxy nor DNA. I was neither macro nor micro. I was neither time nor space. I am. And what were you? Me. I was the logic between them. I was the connection itself. I realized that everything spoke to me that I needed to reconnect. I felt abused, like I was an object, that I had a plug that needed to be plugged into an external current so that I could turn on my lamp and have a light. But when I saw this, I remembered. To have connection again does not mean that I am an object without light, and it is given to me from an external source, but that I, myself, am the connectivity. I have it in me, the battery of the positive and negative. I am the logic of interconnection. That is to say, without me, the rest does not exist. I am. One neuron alone is nothing. Two separate neurons are nothing. Two neurons connected are a data, which guides the creation of a thought. Many neurons connected are an idea leading to an action. Space is the extreme of the macrocosm, while time is the extreme of the microcosm. Both are one, but they have no logic without connectivity, and this is where the perceptions of the fifth dimension is born. Me. How do you understand 5D? Because I think we have a distorted image. I am. Tell me about it. Me. Well, when I think of this dimension, I imagine the eternal heaven, a kind of divine place where the masters, the guides, the elder angels meet, a place of cities of light, of crystals, where a faint and sacred music plays, a dreamy, idyllic place. I am. You are not wrong. If you understand that the 5D is the luminous and connected projection of the 3D, that is, if in the 5D everything is about the interconnectivity that gives logic to the aspects of creation, then it is natural that you see the beings that inhabit it as masters or guides, because they know very well the things that happen and why they happen. In the third, things happen. That is, objects manifest. In the fourth, things happen. That is, the processes that objects go through are seen. In the fifth, things happen because of something. That is, time and space take on logic and understanding, and they are integrated into consciousness. Me. What does 5D actually look like? I am. Do you remember the tesseract? Well, let's complexify this image. Take a cube, and you have 3D. Project its vertices in any direction, creating another cube extended from the first, and you have 4D. Now take these two cubes and project them again from each of the vertices, generating the appearance of 4 more cubes, and you have the 5D. Me. So the 5D would be a sort of extension of the other two. I am. It is the observer of the observed. If the cube lives in 3D and goes through a process in 4D, this means that the whole experience of the universe happens between these two dimensions. The first dimension and the second are fundamental parts of the third, and the 3 compose the reality you live. The fourth allows the 3D to transform on itself in various potentialities. And the 5D is the one that will tell you how and why. Me. It does it because it observes more points of view. I am. It can be in all times and all space of a being or object. It can contemplate all of its potentialities and understand the logic of its movements, the results of its acts. In the aspects of physics, the 5D is the one that sustains the sidereal space, that which is called dark matter. Me, which would be all that which contains the planets and stars and which appears to be a void and yet suffers alterations by gravity. I am, that's right, the matter that cannot be touched or understood according to the laws of physics exists in the dimension that sustains the foundations of physics. In a way, 5D is the mirror of gravity. Me, how? I am. It mirrors time and space. For that we need to understand gravity. From Isaac Newton and his apple, we could understand that gravity is one of the fundamental forces that influence the acceleration of masses in which objects attract each other. At a macrocosmic level, it is the one that causes objects levitating near a planet to be attracted to it, accelerating their velocity as they approach. This is if we look at space as something empty, and it is not, at least in other dimensions. Now, in order to understand this, you must differentiate objects from space. Space is a factor of measurement of distance in which an object develops or moves. A car, when traveling, slides through a space. Time is the other measurement factor by which an object moves. Thus, we have two vectors connected at a 90-degree angle in the shape of an L, describing time as X and space as Y, and the third vector, which will move diagonally across the time-space measure. Do you follow? Me. I follow you. I am. As you will see, space is not equal to matter, but it is equal to the distances over which matter moves. The universe is a constant of time and space, which, when collapsing into each other, generate matter, the third factor. The weight of this matter occupies a place in the time-space constant, which causes the constant to curve. in Latin is gravitia. Therefore, the weighty quality of an object is known as gravity. Imagine that you have a bed with a very soft mattress, and you put a tennis ball on it, and then a soccer ball, and then a bowling ball. You will see that the surface of the mattress will curve toward the center of the weight, and the heavier it gets, the other balls around it will tend to fall toward the heavier one. Me. Wow, I understand. So, it's as if the whole space were a bed full of balls, one heavier than the others, and the less heavy ones are falling in a spiral shape toward the center, creating orbits. I am gravity, then, is the weight of an object exerts on the space-time constant. But, as you know, in space, there is no up or down, there is no north or south. So, there is a mattress that we describe is in all directions, and the weight is equivalent in any of these directions. Therefore, it works like a mirror, reflections of gravity in every possible direction. The 5D holds time and space. The 5D is the dark matter that contains the pushing gravity as reflections of itself in every direction, like the cube of the image you have chosen, one and the same reality driving its body in all directions at once. Me. I'm pretty far from thinking about angels or masters now. I am, well, not so much. So far, we describe this with a cube because it is visually easier, and understanding it by the weight of a star's gravity is the next step from easy. But this is something that replicated to every particle of matter in every object that occupies a place. Like you, for example. As your 3D body lives these three directions, your 4D body is experiencing all of your possible times from when you exist as an individual until you disappear as an individual. And at the very moment, 5D is reflected by connecting the data of your here and now with your whole history, seeing you from every point of your gravity, connecting every aspect of your time and space with the subject that you are. Thus, you can interpret that being human and having a brain with 2 hemispheres and 2 eyes in the 4D, everything you saw and thought, you see and think, you will see and think, will be projected. But in the 5D, the eyes of the observer are open, in which the eyes of time are multiplied to observe its history, and your brain creates synapses and ideas that give logic to all of your eternity. Just as they see all your spaces and think of all of your options. And this is how humans feel observed, guided, and taught by 5D beings. Me, that is, I am myself, multiplied in reflections that interconnect my choices of time and space. I myself am my guides and teachers. I am, and that does not mean that your guides and masters do not exist and have their own life as you have here. They are beings with their own names, but in your dimension they are not relevant. It is you who need to call them north and south, up and down. You need measurable names in space. In the 5th dimension, you are their names. the strings that vibrate data through time and space. Me, they exist because of me, and I exist because of them. I am the materialization of those who observe me from all points of view, from the full consciousness of who I am. I am, and that is why they can guide you and teach you, because they see where you are going. They know everything about you, because they are you on another level. Here the cities are also projected in options, the plants, the worlds. That is why the fifth dimension is the guide and the teacher of the 3D. It is the one that orders and gives meanings, mission, and understanding. It is the observer. Me. Wow. It is the mirror of a labyrinth that fractalizes my being by hundreds, showing me everything that I can be and what I have been, and helping me not get lost in the immensity. I am. And in all of these reflections, you discover all of your potentials, your masteries, your shadows, and you see how they are all referenced in you as well as you in them. You can touch time and space. You are the tangent. You are the point of convergence. Me, I am the oneness. I am. And when you love the oneness in you, you will be all masters, for you will remember that all the wonders and wisdom of this dimension were always within you and outside of you. Me, I am love in oneness. I am. This is the fifth dimension.